escaping the rat race. In 2015, famous rapper 50 Cent filed for bankruptcy with $22 million in debt, despite accumulating over $200 million during the course of his career. This really makes you think. $200 million is an amount that most people can only dream of. If someone like 50 Cent, who made that kind of money, could go bankrupt, what about us? What's our chances to escape the rat race? Is there even a chance? Based on the latest surveys, 63% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and more than half of Americans have credit card debts ranging from $1,000 to more than $10,000. Our personal relationship with money is often reflected in these statistics. What does money mean to you? Does it come and go as quickly as you earn it? Have you ever felt financially vulnerable, leading you to search for get-rich-quick schemes or buy into false promises from so-called gurus? Although one may assume that earning a six-figure salary is great, what good is it if you can't save any of that money? It's time to explore why this disconnect exists and look into a better framework for understanding money. So what is money? Money is most frequently defined as a way to trade goods between two individuals, but does this explain what money truly signifies? When we think of money, we should instead think of it as an expression of value. We trade a set amount of money to purchase something because we believe its worth is comparable to the cost. While the price is usually decided by standards set by others in the market, it's important to remember that fundamentally money equals value. So money is an expression of value. For people living paycheck to paycheck or consumed by credit card debt, how does this change their reality? The simple mention of money equals value changes nothing. It may make me see money in a different light, but that's not actionable advice. To answer that question, I'll ask you another question. What is your relationship with money? Money will always come and go in your life. This concept is easily expressed by looking at your income versus your expenses. Another way to think of this, which I find more helpful, is production versus consumption. Generally, we earn money by creating some sort of value. This could be in the form of labor or a job well done. Alternatively, we spend our money when consuming something, like paying for a Netflix subscription, buying a new car, or a house payment. To some degree, an individual's net worth can be seen as a metric measuring their production versus consumption habits. With the statistics I mentioned at the beginning of this video in mind, now reflect on which part of the consumption to production ratio you think is most responsible for people being in debt. Consider all of the money that has come into and gone out of your life. How much do you still have today? Is it invested in some sort of asset? Which part of this relationship do you feel is unbalanced or needs improvement? The biggest problem of most of us lies in our spending habits. Remember, the survey that discovered that 63% of employed Americans were living paycheck to paycheck, it also found that almost half of workers making $100,000 or more per year are in the same predicament. Some people might even argue that people earning a six-figure salary may want to earn more money. I would contend that if you're making well above the average wage and continue to spend all of your earnings, there's something wrong with your relationship to consumption. This is evident when we look at celebrities who make a lot of money but have filed for bankruptcy because they can't manage their spending habits. Although production is important, it means nothing if you can't control your consumption. The phrase rat race is often used to describe the monotony and emptiness of working a 9-to-5 job. It seems like an unfair comparison, mostly because it targets those who have jobs they hate or are indifferent towards. The reality is that there are plenty of people who either love their 9-to-5 jobs or have other aspirations outside of work. If you're constantly living paycheck to paycheck, barely scraping by and feeling as if money disappears the moment it enters your life, you're in the real rat race. The relationship can become only more dangerous as you have additional responsibilities. The loss of a job or an unexpected health accident could easily throw your entire financial position into chaos, not to mention the mental toll this takes on individuals. Your job is no longer just a way to make money, it becomes a necessity in order to continue paying for your lifestyle or get out of debt. The good news is, it doesn't have to stay that way. The first step in personal finance starts with being aware of your relationship with money. A lot of times, people do this by logging their monthly spending habits under different categories such as housing, food, transportation, etc. It's about understanding yourself as a consumer, but that can be tough. In behavioral finance, we often label this feeling as the ostrich effect, meaning we want to avoid any type of negative financial information. It's the feeling you get when you're too afraid to check your bank account after a night out, but once you pass this stage, it's time for you to take control of your spending habits. This often involves budgeting, where you decide how much money you want to spend on each category per month and stick to it. It's about examining what consumables make up your lifestyle and deliberately cutting back to zero in on ways to live beneath your means. In other words, having a lifestyle that does not drain all of your money and leaves you with enough to save and invest. Before you invest, it's important to have an emergency fund, which is a sum of money saved up to use in the case of, you guessed it, emergencies. 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses is a common goal for these types of savings. Although living below your means can be difficult, it is important to do so. Why would we choose to live a lifestyle that we cannot afford, or one that places us on this financial edge? Because we're afraid to look at our finances, or because we are constantly following our impulse to buy something instead of saving towards a greater reward in the future, or maybe because we want to follow the lifestyle of those around us. Trying to one-up or keep pace with those around us is an old age problem, now commonly referred to as keeping up with the Jonases. If they buy a new porch, we feel pressure to do the same. If they renovate their home, we feel inclined to do the same thing. Nowadays, though the term has taken on a different meaning, the Jonases are not necessarily our literal next-door neighbors. Social media has unfortunately made many of us more concerned with social approval. We deeply worry about what other individuals think of us and whether they approve or not, to the point where we base our self-worth on how many people engage with our posts. It's important to understand that I'm not denouncing people who spend money on luxury items. There's nothing wrong with consuming, and this video isn't about critiquing those with a materialistic view of the world. It's simply intended to raise awareness about what kind of consumer you are. Do you prioritize looking like you have money or actually having money? The term rat race is derived from the comparison of humans to rats, who are perpetually running in a maze looking for cheese with no end in sight. Like rats, people can get so caught up in day-to-day living that they forget about the greater life goals. A budget and knowing where your money is going to help you to break out of this cycle and achieve success. Discussing about making money or daydreaming about being wealthy is enjoyable, but reverting back to poor spending habits means all progress is lost. That's the real rat race. But with all that being said, let's talk about making money. I love learning from personal finance channels like Graham Stephan and Dave Ramsey, but I do wish they talked more about making money. I get why they don't. It's simpler to reduce your expenses than it is to increase your income. When you're speaking to such a large audience, giving advice that will work for the majority of people is usually the best move. People like Graham Stephan or Dave Ramsey promote strategies that emphasize living frugally, saving a lot of money and investing for the long term. And there's nothing wrong with this strategy per se. It can work for people with different income levels. Graham Stephan and Dave Ramsey are both successful YouTubers, making anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 a month. But what sets them apart from other coupon clippers or frugal living advocates is their production value. These people have figured out how to produce value on a large scale. Your worth in the marketplace is synonymous with money. And the most influential method of boosting your value is to identify an issue in the market, create a solution for that problem, and sell that solution in masses to the public. This is an entrepreneurial route. If you want your business to be successful on a large scale, it needs to create a lot of value for society. Your production side should grow exponentially compared to a traditional job, but this path isn't suitable or possible for everyone, and that's okay. First, think about your capabilities honestly, and figure out if entrepreneurship is the right fit before taking any drastic steps. In other words, boosting productivity doesn't necessarily have to come from expanding your company. Graham Stephan creates videos about personal finance on YouTube for a large audience. Creating value for the market comes in all sorts of forms. You could be developing an app or software to solve problems people are willing to pay money to fix, or maybe you have a fitness brand that is really well branded and takes advantage of its community as Ben Francis did with Gymshark. The majority of people will clock in at a traditional 9-to-5 job, but that doesn't cap their ability to produce. Recognizing yourself as a producer is acknowledging the ways you can create value for the market. If you're able to generate value in a large scale, then it translates into making serious money. The internet has given us a chance to put our creativity out there for the world to see, but you won't know if people will want it until it's already published. Awareness is the key to success when it comes to journaling your consumption and setting a budget. Once you have an understanding of your purchasing patterns, it will be easier to produce more value through work and other endeavors. This framework has really helped me immensely, and I firmly believe that it can help others who want to make money in their lives.